why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself real quick and just tell us a little bit about what you do.
So my name is Laura Solomon. I'm the director of Advanced Rapid Detox, and thank you for having me today.
Sure.
What we do is unique. So for 17 years, Dr. Aronoff has been doing opiate detox under sedation so that patients can sleep through withdrawals. And for the past 2 years, there's been a huge uptick in the amount of patients we see coming off kratom.
Yep.
Prior to that, it was just good old-fashioned heroin, pain pills, Suboxone, methadone, and it's only been recently, like I said, the last 2 years, that we've really seen such an influx of kratom patients and arguing about kratom.
Okay.
50% of the people say it's a magic trick and the other 50% say it's poison. So I'm here just not to criticize what anyone says, but just to share what we've seen.
Sure.
There's a lot of controversy that surrounds kratom. It's always, those videos on TikTok are always the ones with so many views.
Kratom's one of those things, and it kind of depends how you use it, because you can do extracts, you can do shots, you can do the pills, whatever. And I feel like depending on what you're using, it has different kind of effects on your body as a whole. So if you're taking a lot of the pills, I know it can cause, taking all those little gel capsules can cause some like blockages in your throat. There's all types of stuff because you can't digest all that as easily. The tea is probably the safest. And then you have stuff like the shots where it's so extreme, it's so intense. People are taking a whole bunch of shots at the same time.
Your eyeballs,
Yeah.
your face just had an expression. So I want to know what your thoughts were in that moment when he was saying that.
So I should preface this by saying any recovery is good recovery. Any way you can be off of illicit, illegal, unsafe opiates is a blessing. So I definitely don't want to bash anybody for doing anything that's working for them.
Right.
With that being said, the challenge that we see is that kratom is marketed in every smoke shop and every gas station as a safe and healthy plant. And it's the same as coffee. Okay, so I don't agree. And what we have seen is that there's many problems. The first problem is that it's a disingenuous practice to market something unregulated in a gas station and a smoke shop.
Right.
So can we talk about the regulations? What kind of guidelines do they even have to put these into gas stations and smoke shops? And
well, and I don't think that someone who works at a gas station is your best bet in terms of medical advice.
I agree.
So with that being said, the problem is that kratom is the addiction to kratom is very stigmatized because our patients who come to us feel so duped that they didn't know it wasn't a safe, legal, regulated, non-addictive. They don't know anything.
Right.
I'll give you an example. We had a very, very upscale, intelligent, professional patient this week. When you look at the demographic of patients, this guy was an 11.
Huh.
He has never done a drug in his life, and he owned treatment centers across the country. Okay. Never tried a drug in his life. He was having trouble sleeping. He went to a naturalist, a health food store, and they said, try kratom. He trusts the naturalist, and he ended up coming to us with bottles that said not for human consumption on the side of them.
Where lies the patient's responsibility? You're saying this as a professional.
Yes.
You have to be conscientious of what you put into your body.
This is something that happens with a lot of medications too, just medications in general. Doctors do not tell you everything about what they're prescribing you, so you have to do your own research.
Right. So part of that challenge is, and we can backtrack just a little to the opiate crisis.
Sure.
I'm 60, almost 62 years old, and we trusted our doctors. You go to have a root canal, a wisdom tooth, your knee, meniscus done on your knee. The doctor says, just take these Percocet or hydrocodone, something, just take it for the month. Mm-hmm. They didn't tell you that you would become dependent.
Right.
They didn't tell you that once you take it for a month, you may experience withdrawals. And that's what led to this problem. So should we be responsible for knowing these things? You bet. Do we really investigate everything? Not always.
Right. Right. And me as an addict in recovery knows that. I got duped with the pills with the doctors years ago, thinking that, okay, I'm taking it for pain. Never understood that addiction and dependence were two different things.
Thank you. So we're not saying that every kratom pill, tea, tonic, tincture is bad for every person and will cause a problem for everyone. I'm not making a sweeping generalization. Educate yourself and don't trust the guy at the gas station or the guy at the smoke shop.
If you do have, like a lot of chronic pain patients, they turn to kratom if their doctor ends up cutting them off or anything like that. And kratom can be a very effective thing whenever you're trying to manage pain. But there's, even on like the bags and bottles, whatever you end up getting, the dosage is always not very clear. And a lot of people don't understand how much am I supposed to be taking, where is a reputable source so I can get this responsibly.
Exactly.
Like that. So yeah, it can be a good thing, but I'm sure you probably have people come in that are taking just dozens and dozens of milligrams every day, and it's crazy.
It's all good till you try to stop.
Yeah.
Now, do people get financially caught up with the kratom? Like, does it become like an expensive thing, like a pill habit?
Yes. So, again, our patients, the misconception is that we only see wealthy patients. That is not true. We treat 500 patients a year. 100 of those recently are kratom patients. The demographic is rich and poor, doctors and dancers. We see everything. There's no typical person.
Right.
With that being said, they start off with, I'll use an example, a bottle, the blue bottle, which I'm legally not supposed to say what that's called.
Sure.
Right.
Okay, the blue bottle. You start off with one and you feel good, or you feel free, or you feel something. And then it's a slippery slope. So with anything, everything's a slippery slope. If you start it and you're not aware of it, you digress into mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial ruin. Sorry.
I have a friend that when I was in recovery, she started wanting to dibble and dabble with kratom. And, I met her at one of those kratom shops, and I purchased the kratom tea, everything. I got back to my house and I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. And I said, I'm not doing this. If you want it, you take it. I'm not going back down any rabbit hole with anything.
Right. I mean, I'm old and experienced enough. I have 9 adult children. I've seen it all. I've worked with 5,000 patients. There's nothing in anything that doesn't tell you this will not end well.
We want to get into a little bit about what your process is whenever you actually have these people coming in. So whether it's kratom, opiates, anything like that, what happens whenever someone first walks in the door?
Well, first first of all, we would love it if we could see some H. We might see H once a year.
Right.
Every single patient, 99% it's fentanyl. So let's start there.
Right.
We are a flat rate, all-inclusive, 4-day opiate detox private hospital. We built it so we could have it exactly catered to our specific patients. And Dr. Aronoff is not guessing when she does this. She's a board-certified anesthesiologist and board-certified addiction specialist.
Right.
And so our patients come to us in use. They don't have to clean up to come to us.
Right.
They come to us as is, and that's a benefit. As you know, a lot of people leave treatment because the withdrawals are too bad. We don't want patients in withdrawals. We want people just how they are so they don't have to suffer. That's the goal. We are located in Michigan, and our patients come in from all over the country. They range between 18 and 50, I'd say.
Okay.
And the majority of them, as I say, are my son Danny's age. So everybody's about 36, give or take. So when we treat 10 patients a week, I'd say 6 of them are 36. That seems to be about the average.
Okay.
And it's a pretty even split of men and women. And we try to tackle all the areas of it. So the first thing is we know that people use substances generally to numb emotional pain.
Absolutely. Trauma.
So that's my background. I'm a trauma specialist for the last 20 years. So,
I love that.
So we know this isn't a one and done. You know, we can get rid of the substance, but we really work hard with the patients to address the root cause issues. And for those patients that come to us and accidentally got hooked on something, like the patient I referenced who's never done a drug in his life.
Right.
So maybe he's the one guy out of 10 that doesn't need the root cause issues to be addressed, but we have therapists on staff, trauma specialty, and we can put patients in touch with resources in their home area to address these things so that they don't have to go back and use.
So I do have one question, because I've been working hard on my trauma for the past 9.5 years. You're saying it's a, but it's a I would love to. It's a 4-day program. So how do you really work on trauma in that amount of time?
We don't.
You've set up the resources for them.
So they meet with the therapist and they meet with me. We get down to the root cause, which is super easy when you know what you're doing. For most females, I can tell you it's usually all the same trauma, unfortunately.
Right.
And then when they leave, we give them access to meet with our therapist or with me anytime, forever, and there's no additional charge. And we put them in touch with resources in their home area, because not everyone's a telemedicine guy.
Okay, so you're saying after you do the treatment and everything and they get through the initial, they literally can come back if they needed to come see you once a month or twice a month, whatever, for trauma therapy. They could do that indefinitely.
Yes. And I have patients that I still not come back because they're from out of state, but they can call and do this forever. And any patient who's ever been here, and there's 5,000 I've worked with, will tell you our phones are on 24/7, 365. Call us.
We have a patient of yours. It's in my comment section.
I wonder who
It's
it is.
JLO.
Yeah.
Okay. Little
Yes,
JLO.
I've connected with her on TikTok previously.
She's the cutest little thing ever. I freaking love her so much.
But it's a testament, just showing that obviously this does work. And that's actually something I didn't know. So one of the things that had me kind of the most skeptical was you go get this detox and then you're just out on your own, and what's stopping people from, being able to not relapse. And the fact that you do that is amazing, because I've heard of a lot of other rapid detox or similar types of things that do nothing of the sort, and it's crazy to me.
So I think the main reason I do it, why I do my job, and I was just interviewed about this for something else, is I have a son who's it'll be 10 years in recovery, and he was addicted to everything. Homicidal, suicidal, drug addicted, bad. And we took him for treatment, and we were treated so disrespectfully, no follow-up, stigmatized, shamed. It was awful. So I really felt like I wanted to do this because I would never want anyone to treat someone else like that. So I can tell you that any patient will tell you that our environment, not just me, but all 30 people that work here, literally like hug and kiss and love everybody that comes here, and we respect them because it's hard to ask for help.
Right.
It is.
Absolutely.
So as you're going through this, you end up doing the kind of initiation where you learn what the trauma issues are and stuff like that. And then, I mean, the whole point of this is you go to sleep, you get pumped full of all this stuff, and then when you wake up, you are no longer going through withdrawal, kind of, sort of.
So when you talk about other rapid detox facilities, the sales pitch they give you is you go under sedation, you wake up, and you feel like $1 million. That's not true.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Anyone who tells you there is a magic trick is not being honest. So there are degrees of which people have withdrawal symptoms, for sure. So we tell people to expect to be weak and exhausted. We tell them to expect to have some symptoms that we can manage with temporary medication that they take for a few days.
Which is that like clonidine and stuff like that?
So the mix, if you will. There is a new cumulative medication called Lucamyra,
I've heard of that. I've heard of it.
Yep.
Myra. And Lucamyra covers every symptom.
Mm-hmm.
So we can give that. We can give it broken up into gabapentin, clonidine, Requip, Zofran, promethazine. We can break it up into individualized medications to address specific symptoms if they don't want to or can't do Lucamyra.
Sure.
Right.
With that being said, we tell them to expect it. Of the 10, 3 have maybe more symptoms, 3 have mild, 3 have really nothing, and 1 goes home and says, I'm just having trouble sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know which one you're going to be, and it really depends. The patients who come off kratom have the worst withdrawals under sedation than anyone.
Huh.
But afterwards, they have the least side effects.
Because the peak comes quicker and it doesn't last quite as long. Right.
So that's what we see. If you were coming off fentanyl, as an example, that's mixed with xylazine, PCP, MDMA. It's mixed in with so many things that those people have the most residual symptoms versus kratom patients who peak up and they're much more even afterwards.
So if I'm someone that's coming off of fentanyl, and we know that fentanyl is now mixed with xylazine, nitazines, there's even more things in the drug supply now. Right. It's completely tainted. How would somebody like that, what would that look like for somebody that's coming off of fentanyl, like that has all these other additives in it?
So what happens is we know what's in your system so we can address it with medication. Worst case scenario, people have restless leg, they have nausea, and they have chills. Restless leg is Requip, nausea is Zofran or promethazine, and chills is clonidine. These aren't hard to fix, but so many of these places that do detox get people off of things and then send them home. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to go use.
Yep.
Right.
So we don't do that. Every patient leaves with our nurse's phone number. Her name's Frida. They call or text Frida, and Frida, in 1 minute, calls them in whatever they need for whatever problem they're having. The only thing we really can't fix is diarrhea, and that's okay because everybody's constipated.
So I have a question. Now, there's other medications out there. There's so many ways to recover. I utilize Sublocade to get off of my Suboxone. There's Brixadi. You can titrate. There's so many different ways. Why would you suggest this over one of those ways? I'm just curious.
So I wouldn't ever suggest anything for anyone.
It's individual.
Provide what we do.
Right. It's all individual.
Right. So I get a lot of comments on the videos that I make saying you can just do this or
right.
Just
that's why I'm saying that.
I believe that if you can use Brixadi and you can use Sublocade, go use it.
Right. Everyone's different.
Right. We're here for the people who want to do this. And why is it different? Because we get a lot of people who say, I don't want to switch from this to that. I just want to be off of everything. Well, if you want to be off of everything, we're the place.
And that's pretty common because especially like Sublocade and stuff, it can be in your system for up to a year. You do have to switch and it takes just more time and stuff like that. That's why I was stuck on subs and I didn't do anything. I just jumped off because I was so done being on everything. And it was horrible, but I did it. And it's
look at this guy. Hold on, I'm reading the comments.
Jimmy, I just left your facility on Thursday.
Yeah, I forgot Jimmy did it.
And Jimmy was on, I'll let Jimmy do, I can't, because of HIPAA, I can't say what Jimmy was on or what he did, but I freaking love Jimmy. I mean, I'm so proud of these people.
If somebody is addicted to multiple substances, because I was addicted to benzos as well, how does that work?
Our process does nothing for benzos. In fact, we suggest that if you're on benzos, you stay on them a little because post-acute withdrawal syndrome can make you kind of anxious.
Yep.
And then when you're ready, Dr. Aronoff can give you a taper schedule to get you off benzos.
I love that because I get so many messages of people that are just cut off or their doctors don't want to work with them to taper them properly. I'm going to start sending people your way. Like
Dr. Aronoff, in addition to being brilliant, she's also the nicest, warmest girl. And I think that helps because we're always here. I mean, if you got a patient who came in here from 5 years ago, they would tell you the same thing. They can call me right now. I answer the phone. I stay up with them at night. I help them any way I can. Everybody who works here is like that.
And I see people in the comments saying stuff like giving people clonidine and GABs and all these other medications can be risky. And I would assume that's why, one, they're monitored, and two, this is for short-term use.
Right. So I agree that any long-term medication has contraindications and addictive properties. We are very cautious about giving out clonidine because it can reduce your blood pressure too much. Gabapentin, it's for a few days. It's not enough of a dose to get dependent.
Right.
So you asked about the cost.
Right.
We have payment plans. It is tax deductible. The major insurance companies, Aetna, Cigna, and Blue Cross, reimburse some or all of the cost of this.
Really?
And less than $10,000. So I don't know where everybody gets this $20,000 thing, but that's not us.
It's because all of them are different. That's why.
You can't put a price tag on someone's life. Your life is worth 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000. When we get into recovery, we usually invest back into ourselves. Like a lot of people get their teeth redone, like just different things. And I just think that we're worth investing in. Everyone is.
On top of that, the therapy for, the foreseeable future, that's a huge, financial benefit right there. That's crazy.
Right. I think it just really depends if it's for you or not. We're not for everybody.
One of my friends just said, I spent more than 20K in my addiction. And right there, that is it right there. The amount of money that we've spent using.
Well, Marie, this is the most fascinating math I've done in a long time. $100 a day is 36 grand a year.
Wow. Holy God.
Yeah.
I've done well more than that in my days.
Thank you. And the way I look at it, the average spend of our patients who are using fentanyl is a minimum of 200 a day. That's 72 grand a year. So
Wow.
when they come here and spend 10, you've just saved 60,000 a year. Calm down.
Right.
And for me, I'm very huge into therapy. Therapy is the key to my recovery. I say it all the time.
Yes.
Because I really think that working on your past trauma is the key to success.
It's everything.
Are you able to take out-of-state insurance and stuff like that?
So we don't take any insurance.
It's the reimbursement.
We give the patients a super bill that has all the coding on it, and they can submit it to their insurance. I've seen insurances pay nothing, and I've seen them pay all of it.
Do you take care credit, stuff like that?
So what's interesting about Care Credit, they will not cover any detox-related facilities. They will
Wow. They cover plastic surgery, but they don't cover detox. Right, I did it.
They cover breast implants and they cover teeth, but they will not cover saving your life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just crazy. A lot of places are like that, though.
Sickening.
So have you ran into things just because of the nitazines and all the trank and all that stuff? Have you ran into things that you kind of couldn't solve that issue? You could solve maybe the opiate portion, but you couldn't get past the rest of it?
Doctor has put together a group of medications that address the majority of the symptoms that we've run across. We haven't seen anything we couldn't fix. But like I said, some of the medicines that affect you psychiatrically that are stopped abruptly, it takes a little while for people to level out. And,
Right.
we remind patients that this will pass. The issue with addiction is the impulsivity and the need to solve the problem instantly. Well,
We want instant gratification.
correct. So sometimes we have to remind people that, in fact, just be patient for a little, it'll pass. And it does.
Yeah, 100%. Whenever you are getting people coming in and it is all these different demographics, you mentioned the average age range and everything. Do you see, and I know you can only say this so much, do you see certain ethnicities, certain social economic groups, anything like that? It's just broad spectrum?
No, I used to, in my younger age, think that there was a certain profile, if you will, of what it looks like to be addicted.
Addiction doesn't discriminate.
And honey, unbelievable. And like I said, I have patients who are lawyers and sex workers. I don't care. At people who've been incarcerated, people who fly airplanes. It's anyone.
Wait, I would want, oh my God, a person flying an airplane. Oh my God, wow. That's pretty
common.
crazy. I mean, but the thing is when you're caught up in addiction, you just think that you're going to outsmart everyone and you can keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, it definitely does not discriminate.
Yeah, pilots are, I feel like pilots are super common. It's a big
Truck
news.
drivers and pilots, just the people who are cruising all around us.
Besides the doctor and therapy and everything, what other services do you guys have? Is it kind of contained to that?
So on day one, the patients come in usually on a Monday. Our doctor is religious observant, so we don't work weekends. So they come on a Monday. They have all of their urine drug screen, their lab work, respiratory therapy. They have their meeting with the therapist, the case planning with the doctor, and the intake portion. On Tuesday, they're under IV sedation. So this is the part where everybody thinks, so what does being under sedation do? We get a lot of comments, you have to put me to sleep for a month. No, it's not about the sleeping per se. While you're under sedation for between 8 and 16 hours, while they're under sedation, the doctor uses medication that reverses the opiate from the receptor. Mm-hmm. So the quantity of time they sleep is based on the monitoring to know if their withdrawals are done.
Okay.
So once they're out of that acute withdrawal stage, they dose them down so that they're under mild sedation, but they don't remember any of it.
Right.
Wow.
Then on day 3, which is, let's say, Wednesday, they rest and recuperate. We do tell them to expect to be weak and exhausted. They should expect to have some symptoms, but they're in a private hospital. Our nurses take care of them. They medicate the symptoms that they can. And then on Thursday, day 4, around noon, they meet with the doctor. She checks them over to make sure they're up, alert, active, ready to roll, and they go home.
It sounds more comforting to know that someone's like, that it's a hospital with people that know about addiction and aren't going to stigmatize you. Nurses that love that line of care. There's a difference.
Right. I think that is one of the main things. Is the most highly received compliment is our staff.
Right. It means everything.
I'm the not nice one by comparison. I mean, everyone else is so kind and so sweet, and yes, I mean, it starts from the top down, from the doctor down. Everybody is lovely.
So I have a friend in here that's very interested in doing this, and I would like to ask the question for him. He's asking, what's the average payment that someone would usually get? I would assume it would be based off their credit score, right?
So yeah. I'm on the counseling side, so I don't really know about the finance side, but
right.
On our website, there's a link to mlendfinance.com. There's about 10 different packages, and somebody there can help with that. I don't know, but from what I've heard, if your credit is decent, whatever that means, it's about $250 a month.
That's really not bad at all.
No, that's not bad at all. That's actually really, really affordable.
Listen, someone that smokes cigarettes spends more than that a month. Think about it.
Was that a jab at me?
No, I'm sorry, Kyle. But I was just thinking, like, the money that I've saved with just the smallest things, quitting smoking cigarettes. Like, hey, I put that towards my eyelashes today, but it is what it is.
Right.
What has there been any research into those other things besides the opiate side of stuff, like cigarettes or ice or cola, anything like that?
Honestly, I don't have time to even think about anything else except what we do.
Right.
I've been working 9 years, 24 hours a day. I have not had one more minute to think about one more thing.
And that's, because we help, Marie and I help a lot of people off opiates and other different things. But the amount of people that, like, I see with cola and ice and just all types of other stuff, it's rough because there aren't as many options for them.
Samantha here asked, what hospital is it in? We are located in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and we built a private hospital. So it's not, and we're about a mile from Beaumont, which is Corwell, which is a big hospital, if God forbid anything happens. But we have not had any real incidents, and the 17 years we've been doing it.
How has it gone with things like Suboxone and Methadone, some of those longer acting things where that peak isn't coming so quick? Is it different?
Actually been easier than, like, in terms of how hard it is, the toughest thing is fentanyl, then probably kratom, then methadone, then Suboxone.
Have you guys ever Narcaned anybody to get them out of withdrawal? Okay, I saw that comment.
No. Yeah, we get a lot of people who ask if we Narcan people or if we put them in a coma. So the answer to that is no and no. So as an example, Jimmy, you said use my case, I don't mind. So Jimmy came to us on Suboxone. We told him to use it up until he got here, and he was able to get right off of it. And yes, he's tired. Jen doesn't mind either. Jen came to us on methadone, long-term methadone.
Right.
And same thing, we got her off methadone. So yes, it works for all of those things. And you are correct, Kyle, that there's no like one size fits all anesthesia. It just depends on what each patient has a separate case plan.
Right.
Right. Individually tailored to your needs.
Yeah. And Jimmy was on subs for, I think, 8 or 9 years. Jen was on probably 12 or 13.
13, she said.
Yes.
How do you feel about the like safe supply and all these different mandates that are coming out, and all these people that are chronic pain patients and their doctors are getting arrested or just ripping them off pain pills?
So that's sickening.
Yeah.
It's really very unhypocritic for a doctor to take a legitimate pain patient, give them the confidence that they will be always there to help and support their pain, and then cut them off. It's sickening. It shouldn't happen. I feel horribly for anybody who's in that position. And in regard to Safe Supply, my nephew is the head of Safe Supply in Washington.
Really?
Yes.
I love that.
Yes, his name's Brad Finegood. You can look him up online.
I would like to connect with. I would like to connect with him if we could hook that up.
I'll text you his information. His name's Brad Finegood. Listen, any port in a storm.
Right.
Any way to keep people safe and comfortable is a good thing.
I really appreciate what you guys do, just because I've looked into all different types of how you can, get free off of whatever you're stuck on. And I feel like every single time I looked at any rapid detox place or talked to someone, it was they go in and get the detox and then they're just abandoned. So the fact that you guys do so much afterwards too, just kudos to you, because seriously, not everyone is doing that. Most people aren't. So it's huge, because that's what makes the difference.
Well, we believe that for us, it's a spiritual mission, which is why we don't charge $20,000.
Right.
We believe that everybody, rich or poor, young or old, deserves the grace and understanding to get help.
Right.
And to not feel like they're trapped.
And to know that you are worthy. You are worthy of spending that amount of money to save your life.
Yeah.
That right there, like, think about it. If you could get a payment of $200 a month or something like that, quit smoking. Like, it's the money that you were spending using anyway.
Well, and we do get very generous patients who, past patients who donate money for scholarships and grants. And that is a blessing, because we get, like, I have a single mom coming this week. She is I don't want her to lose her kids, and we have a fund set up for single moms.
I love that.
We're taking care of about half of her detox.
My heart, my soft spot is single moms. My soft spot is women struggling.
Yes.
Because I've been there and I know that struggle, and I want women to feel less alone.
Right.
Because women sometimes have, it's all self-worth stuff. That's all. You got to break down the layers and really break it down.
Your therapist is great.
I go to therapy a lot, twice a week.
She's great.
See,
Thank you.
I don't go to therapy. I need to. Everyone keeps telling me to go to therapy.
It's everything. I love therapy.
Kyle, anytime.
Right
You know,
there.
it really, all we can do is help each other with our
Right.
experience.
Right.
And the fact that you both are willing to share your stories, it saves lives. And that's why we really love our patients who are willing to talk to people, because they're not alone. They can share their story, and they can really inspire people to change.
Are you in a private room, or like you in like a room with like beds with multiple people while you're
Right.
sleeping? I'm curious.
When we built this center, we built it so that everybody was private.
I guess you could just save a little bit of space and just have a big old warehouse, have everybody in little tubes or something, and they just go in there the whole time. Perfect.
Listen, if you want to talk to your neighbor and they're willing and receptive, cool. But for the most part, people keep to themselves. They Netflix and chill. They recover themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing.
Heck yeah.
I love it.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming on, Laura. Seriously.
Thank you for having me. You two are wonderful, and God willing, we can help some more people.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'll be sending people your way.